where those who perceive truth may strive to make others see.
A big, powerful America, and shoot them for what?
On that continent, we are trying to forge a new identity for which we need each other.
With the last words on my lips, that I am a revolutionary, and you're going to have to keep on saying that.
I once interviewed a professor where he defended the arts and criticized how students believed that finding a career was supposed to come right after college. And when I asked him about how colleges should instill this message in place of the promise of success that lures most students to college to accumulate debt, he had nothing to say. When it comes to conventional college or university, these institutions often fail to deliver on really this promise, right? And this concept here, the Blackbird open source university, it's an alternative that I'd like to work on with you guys. Now, there are already platforms for free education that may well be closer to Google's definition for open source. The idea here is that the Blackbird Open Source University is to create a system and a community that really helps these platforms that are already existing, while also taking maximal advantage of what they offer. This is a quick tangent that's not really in the script, but the idea of open source is really something that's understood from, crazy enough, the surveillance state or surveillance system. And the idea here is that at some point, I believe it was Twitter, where the intelligence agencies realized that everything was already available to them in terms of the information that they were looking at, because Big Brother loves to do Big Brother stuff. But the idea was, these things are available, we just need to really categorize them in a certain way and make them more appealing to our particular wishes. And it's important because people really don't have that concept of what's readily available, right? There are so many things that are out there that we really don't appreciate and have access to, or not really have access to, because we do have access to them, but we haven't really systemized really gaining access and promoting access in certain ways. Now, in terms of me, myself, right, who is sleepy, right? And the idea here is that I have a spectrum of experience here. And just a few that really pertain to this particular topic is I've been to community college. After 1 year, I transferred to a quote-unquote prestigious university. I graduated and worked as a research specialist. And I got really exposed to a few things, and including the postgraduate lifestyle, or the doctorate's lifestyle for them. But I left the lab eventually, and I really worked and progressed through a career in construction to really gain a pretty solid understanding of the engineering behind certain structures. And in addition to that, I've done a hefty amount of artistic pursuits, continuing education, self-study, and much of this stuff I've done while actually a lifestyle that was considered van life. If you're familiar with it, then you know, but the idea is essentially you're living in your car. Now, I've seen advantages and disadvantages in all of these particular concepts, and I really want you guys to understand something. Professors can be a blessing on, whether that be on a platform or in the actual classroom of a college or a university, but I don't believe really any of these systems, right? The education system, the work system, the career system, whatever. I don't think really any of these systems have it nailed down to really fulfill the promise of success. Community colleges are great until they turn into more of a business, right? Prestigious universities are already a large business, and they create pipelines to entities really looking for students to help them further work in just destructive fields many times. And many of these entities that prestigious universities really connect students to, they're the primary entities that have the finances to really provide the lifestyle to pay the loan back that many of these institutions require students to take on. As a research specialist, I worked under a passionate professor that spent way too much time applying for grants rather than working in the lab. And it's this guy right here, he left a tremendous impression because he really showed me the life I want to live, right? So the idea here is that he was he was in his 80s, I believe, or he was getting close to his 80s, but there was no such, like, if you said retirement to this guy, he just raised his eyebrow like, what are you talking about? Now, in the career system, I was really exposed to a variety of bosses and managers that did not see value in really my hunger for knowledge or skill development in any way. I had the pleasure of meeting one, and I had the opportunity of meeting one or coming into contact with one, but really, I think for the most part, the biggest worry for many of these guys is job security, and that leads to all sorts of problems in terms of the people under them and the overall culture of careers or job places in general. And in my self-study or continuing education, what I noticed was the social aspect was really just non-existent, right? No classmates, no friend groups, nothing, no kind of networks to really tap into. And also, in this idea of van life, I traveled around the United States, right? And I noticed that it really wouldn't take a lot to set up a network to support people who are working on self-development or not trying to essentially just pay hotels or Airbnbs wherever they go, right? And this is not to mention people who, simply need to live in their cars due to financial situations. The frustration that really resulted in just an analysis and an understanding of these things is really what led me to make this video here. We fail on a lot of different metrics, but I do want to say that I've also had experiences and actual come into contact with, particularly things that gave me hope. And I'll mention two of them right here. The idea of recently I joined the board, right? And this board is for a holistic education organization. I haven't taught people through the board yet, but they focus particularly on high schoolers. But I walked into particularly this classroom before joining the board where I instantly knew that this was the place where the most effective development happened for any kid that came into that room. And the idea here is it's so much. It taught me so much in terms of it really helped me in terms of mold this particular video, but I'll plug them in if they ask me or if they tell me that it's okay. Also, I read this book called The Friendly Orange Glow. Highly recommend it. And this book describes really the origin story for the internet, and also, I mean, really of the concepts revolving around revolving around things like gaming as well. But it grew from an effort to more efficiently educate students, right? So it was pretty amazing. Like, we're talking about things like chat rooms, computer games, newsletters, and computerized education, of course, right? And this is well before big companies like IBM or Apple got into the mix. The place was magic, right? But the corporations got wind of what was going on, and this idea of really what happened with this particular system, it was called Plato, not Plato. But the idea here was, it was a blow that I think open source concepts and the system of open sourcing never recovered from. Now, I took a lot out of these particular things, and of course the bad from the earlier concepts of my actual experience, and the good from that as well. But a lot of the good came from really just understanding and really having a passion for actually helping people achieve and bridging people to the concept of what success is. And this particular idea, I learned a lot, but I think what's really important in terms of now is I learned how to maintain these programs, because I really want this idea of this Blackbird open source university. I want this to be a program that does a few things, right? I want it to systemize building communities and friend groups. I want it to produce people and groups to thrive while they take part in the renovation of society. I want to produce more resilient people and just neighborhoods in general, or communities in general. And this community, or this system, this program, this university, I want this to be something that makes good on that promise. Now, I want to make this disclaimer very clear. If you are looking for the quote-unquote college experience of getting drunk and wasted on a regular basis, this program is not for you. This is really designed as a low-cost alternative to college and higher education that gets you closer to success without the absurd amounts of debt, right? And I do fully intend on creating a fun environment where you can actually, a fun and social environment, but it is not purposed to provide a fun experience. If you guys get in a community of people and you claim the name Blackbird Open Source University for any reason, to be frank with you, I expect you not to be idiots and represent the community well. If you intend on being a then don't mention us or wear anything related to the program. And with that being said, there are going to be adults of all ages in this particular program. They're going to range in education from things from the concepts of the high school dropout to people who have gained doctorates. This university is going to be open, of course, in terms of actually people coming into the actual community itself, but I want to make it clear that more exclusive guilds and tribes will form for specializations, right? And the idea here is that guilds will not choose to allow or exclude someone based on financial and situation, age, gender, racial identity, and they may exclude people based on things like knowledge, experience, or demonstrated skill. And either way, this university is gonna really be purposed to produce people that will contribute to the renovation of society. Upon joining, the idea here is that you will be categorized as a quote-unquote normie, right? But there will be 3 tiers in terms of the actual process of moving through the university and completing different things regarding the university, right? And the 3 tiers are going to be Renaissance graduate, Renaissance pioneer, and then Blackbird. Now, the idea behind a Renaissance person is that these are the people who are able to form guilds. There's another video on this particular topic or this particular channel called the Foundry Mixed Use Development. I go into guilds a little bit, and there it's in the description, or it's actually categorized to where you can, what is it called when you click through a video and click to play that particular segment. It's segmented, which is totally not the word, but the idea here is that these guys, the idea of a Renaissance graduate, I'm sorry if I said person, Renaissance graduate will be at least 18 years of age or older. The idea here is that underage people will be free to join the community, but there will have to be a guardian to supervise any interaction that takes place, especially off of the platform. Now, this idea of it also comes with this concept that's really central to this whole program, and the idea is for a Renaissance graduate in particular, the idea is to have completed core courses or demonstrated the core skills, right? And the core skills are in regard to weaknesses that really a person may have and really need to, at the very least, face, right, and demonstrate facing that particular weakness. And the idea here is, if you're a STEM-focused person, you have to actively pursue knowledge in the arts and vice versa, right? The core skills, they're going to really require that you understand things like also content creation and business and political components related to your major as well. And in terms of content creation, we're talking about just an understanding, right? We're not talking about you have to be able to produce a Mr. Beast production level thing. You just have to start to understand the process of content creation. Renaissance graduates will also have a defined and a particular program or major and actively show that they are pursuing that program or major. Now, this idea of a program or major is of course very central to the idea of this particular program, and the idea here is that it may very well require some soul searching, right? This is not going to be easy to define this. That's what the Renaissance graduate has to do. They just have to define it. And this right here, the actual major needs to be coupled and or really describe in a way in terms of a person with this, think about this, a person with this degree should be able to accomplish your particular mission in life, right? Or in the world. That is a basic way to put it, but the idea here is, for example, if you have something, let's say we have something called the aquatic recovery degree, right? This degree may be for someone who has decided that they want to save ocean-dwelling animals. They're going to have to start to piece together and design this degree. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But now, in terms of additional requirements, the idea here is that the Renaissance graduate has either acquired a position or has demonstrated they could acquire a job or create a business that promotes the development of the skills required for that major. Now that's kind of a mouthful, but the idea here is that you have maybe you're either in a job position or you have started a business that is in alignment in terms of it allows you to really accumulate the skills required to achieve whatever degree. So for instance, someone with the aquatic recovery degree that we mentioned, they may have to prove that they are working in a related field, something like particularly like, for instance, they're working in as a vet of some kind or something like that. And that's the concept here. And this is worth mentioning here, even though I kind of brushed over with the core skills, but the idea here is that you will have to demonstrate as a Renaissance graduate that you know the local political atmosphere. And the idea is that you will know and understand how your particular vote can affect the goals, passions, or community that you're really a part of and aim to be a part of. Now, a Renaissance pioneer is going to have started to publish content that compiles or reviews publication or information in general regarding their major. They will have to reach out to the professionals that are related to their particular major and begin to get develop relationships and possibly get recommendations from them. And they will also have to really, or not have to, but they're also going to be able to submit recommendations to upgrade the status of normies or Renaissance graduates to pioneer status. Now, in terms of Blackbirds, the idea here is that they have created proposals for the world, right? And this proposals are that whatever proposal that comes up is going to have to demonstrate an awareness of the ongoing activity, the past activity, the published content, and the valuable information regarding this proposal. And this proposal will have to be related, of course, to your actual degree. There's going to also be a requirement in terms of actually proving a willingness and a level of willingness to divest from the system. And this is up for grabs, and we'll talk about it on a case-by-case basis depending on your particular situation. But the idea here is that you will delete Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp off of your phone, right? Not to say that you can't have these, you can't be in these programs, but the idea here is that you have to prove an understanding of what it means, or you have to prove a willingness to divest from the system and not be addicted to a lot of these platforms. A lot of problems with the platforms and really just the phone in general. But to be honest with you, I really want to encourage you to de-Google your phone. But the idea here is that there are components to that Google makes. They make everything convenient, and that's the idea here, is that some things are actually not possible without Google. So definitely something to look out for in terms of when we talk about this Blackbird status. Now, we're going to use various free education platforms like Coursera.com, Khan Academy, EDX, Stanford Online, Code Academy, or whatever kind of free courses are out there. And that's what we're going to aim to really take advantage of. But when you pick a major, you're going to take time and select programs and courses that can help you really attain this major, right? You're going to have to look at the details of the courses as you construct this. And a lot of these courses may provide or may require previous courses, right? And the priority is going to be courses that apply to the major. There's going to be, of course, things that you just kind of just randomly interested in, and we'll see if that maybe even shapes changing your major in a way. But that's the priority here. Also, the courses, I don't want you guys to there's also paid options to buy certifications, and that's not something that I'm going to actively encourage you guys to do. And the reason why is going to be because there's going to be associated with this program a ledger that you're going to be constructing, and that's going to really help demonstrate that you've taken the course and also demonstrate what you've learned from the course if need be. And we'll get into particularly how this ledger, we'll have another video about this ledger in particular. But the idea here is that it's going to help you document and keep track of a lot of what you learn and the content that you review in general, right? And which brings me to the idea, like, all of your all of the courses for your really degree program aren't going to make up and complete the entire program itself, right? You're not going to get everything. I'm not expecting people to get everything from the degree program or from the actual websites themselves. And the idea here is that, just like we talked about with that open source concept at the top, we're going to start to really dig in and understand what's valuable. And this idea is, for instance, if you are into like STEM, you're going to have to include various publications and research. And if you're into the arts, you're going to have to study older forms of art and music and the concepts and things behind that, right? And forgive me if you're in the arts and you're just like, well, we already have that in the program. Then by all means, we'll have to figure something out. But the idea is that searching for content and being really good at finding content that is going to help really promote molding you into this person that has this degree. Now, a lot of you guys may be wondering, like, Sleepy, where is this going, right? And the idea here is the goal point is that this community is really a stepping stone to establish physical spaces and a network that's going to be this network is going to be really connected to a concept, right? Particularly the intelligent mixed-use development concept called the Foundry, right? And the idea here is that we're building this network, the idea of the guilds that come out of what happens here. This network of what's happening, what's taking place, this has a point of materialization. If this network gets far enough, the idea is that it materializes into what is currently known as the Foundry, right? And please, take a look at the video. But the idea of the Foundry is essentially the project proposal that would qualify me to have Blackbird status, right? And is something that is very likely to support this system and really designed to support the system as it's being laid out to you now. Now, I'm not going to start talking too much about the details regarding the Foundry and how it would support this particular this particular system in general, but the idea here is that it will. And even in the actual Foundry video, if you're interested in the open source university, then you'll be interested in the Foundry itself. But the concept is really laid out in a point to where it doesn't quite touch on the topic of education. So be prepared for that. It doesn't quite address it in terms of focus on that particular topic, I'll say. But it's very much related and connected to the idea of the Foundry and what it's designed to help build. And there's a lot that's not mentioned in that particular video. And also check out. I'll make sure to leave a link for the zine in general as well. Now, if you are particularly interested in some kind of topic or degree, and you think more people would actually want to hear about this particular topic or degree, make a comment, and we'll make a video regarding what constructing that particular degree may look like. And that's definitely probably one of the best ways to really get an idea of what Sleepy's got in his mind when he says things like this degree is going to be designed. And when it comes down to people who may be very much interested and kind of like I would say like really foaming at the mouth, I would suppose, for actual personal consultation, I'm like this idea, I'm going to have to, I guess, we'll have to figure out some kind of financial arrangement, because I'm not really in the financially stable place to make office hours and hold office hours yet. But when I am, I'll totally let the community know. Concept, and like I said, either way, I want you guys to join the community. Like, right, if you're interested in the idea of the Blackbird Open Source University, I'm going to link I'm going to link the Discord, and also in the description below, and I'll also have a t-shirt and the zines in the actual like stores for sale if you want to support this particular initiative in any way. And you can also buy a coffee through the link as well. Now, depending on the amount of support this gets, the idea here is that I will do it out depending on the actual, what happens. I'll create an online open mic to take place regularly. Work with developers or just general smart people, I suppose, to create a system to post content from various students, right? And the idea here is that we'll form a means for the things that the students produce to be seen by more people when it gets enough votes or something like that. Also, we'll reach out to nonprofits to create just general partnerships. Also, there's a concept for setting up bus classrooms where the semester can be spent on the road, and we'll work out the logistics of that as well. And that's kind of they're concepts that aren't quite solidified yet, of course, but we'll figure it out. The idea is a semester is going to be related to this particular program, and we'll figure out how the logistics will have to work based on what I suppose the lawyers would have to say about certain things and certain concepts that I have in mind. But also we'll build actual places to promote really like safe just environments for like living, learning, and just interactions in general. And also provide, of course, a safe parking space for particular people in like the nomad lifestyle. And we'll also lay the groundwork for the Foundry in general. So those are kind of tiers where things could go, just to have an understanding. But if anything, like I said, leave a comment, like the video, share the video, and also join the actual Discord community. If I know a lot of people right now are like you guys are out there like basically just trying to lone wolf it, and I'll be honest with you, it's something that I think appeals to a lot of people, but when we talk about the renovation of society, that's not something that one person does. That's not something that one person can do. You can start to, and it becomes scales easier when you have more people connected to what you're doing. So of course everybody's not going to like everybody, but we'll make sure that there won't be any kind of like venom or ill intent in the particular community. And you'll hope, I'm really hoping at the very least for you guys to start to connect with one another. In any case, hopefully I'll see you in the next video.